bonus video. Yay. I don't even know how to start these videos anymore. Today we are going to be doing a book reading. I don't want to hear it. Okay, I know that I haven't done these in a long, I think it's been like a month. It's been so long I couldn't even remember what chapter I was on, and I had to go back and look. And it's been a month. I'm aware, okay? My excuse, honestly, the reason being is just that, I don't know. I feel like one of the things that I really love so much about doing ASMR versus like my vlog channel is that on this channel there's so much engagement. Like, you guys like respond to me, you text, like you leave comments, I ask you a question and you answer in the comments. Like, you guys, it's like a community, like it's like a friendship, it's like a family on this channel. But when I do these, nobody watches them, which is like whatever. But because nobody's watching them, there's no engagement, there's no sense of community, you know? It's just not the same. And so because of that, I haven't really been enjoying doing these that much. I don't know if it's just because of the I don't know if it's just because of the book specifically or what, but you guys don't like them. I don't know. So I honestly started to just finish this book on my own time, but I was like, let me not do that. And I wanted to post a bonus video this week, so I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. I believe we're gonna do chapter 18 and 19 today. I think they're both kind of short-ish, so let's get started. Also, it's really bad weather here in Florida. Like, it's been really raining, and it's really windy outside, so you might hear that. And it's like 1 p.m, so it's like peak sunniness, and there's clouds, so the lighting is gonna change. It's literally changing as I just said that, so just ignore her. Okay, let's get into it. Chapter 18 is in Lily's point of view. It's been 5 days since I've seen Atlas. I try not to stress over how busy we are because I know it'll get better once I'm comfortable enough to let him spend time around Emmy. But the responsible thing to do is to let Emmy's father know when I start seeing someone else before I bring anyone around her. It's just frustrating that the responsible thing to do is also a terrifying thing to do. I plan to put it off for as long as possible. There's no shame in being patient. The flower shop is understaffed this week with Lucy's upcoming wedding, and Atlas has been dealing with legal stuff regarding custody, running 2 businesses, and taking care of a kid. On top of all that, the fever my mother had last week turned into a full-fledged flu, so she hasn't been able to watch Emmy at all. I've brought her with me 2 out of the 3 days I've worked this week. It's just been a week from hell. Too busy to even get a drive-by hug. Ryle and Marshall took the girls to the zoo today. Emmy is more than likely too young to enjoy it, so it should make for an interesting day for Ryle. The custody exchange was fine this morning, even though we haven't spoken since our conversation on the roof last week about her middle name. He was a little curt, but I prefer this curtness to the subtle passes he sometimes still makes at me. Alyssa is working with me today since she doesn't have Riley. She just returned with coffee now that we've caught up on everything. We got all our orders out with the delivery truck an hour ago, so this is the first time we've actually had time to speak in private since my date with Atlas last week. Alyssa hands me my coffee and then taps the mouse on the computer to check the online orders. What are you wearing to Lucy's wedding? I ask her. We're not going. What? We can't. It's my parents' 40th wedding anniversary. Ryle and I are doing the surprise dinner. She told me about that, but I had no idea it was the same day as Lucy's wedding. It's the only evening Ryle could get away, she says. I deflate. I hate Ryle's schedule. I know it'll get better over time when he's no longer one of the newest surgeons on staff, but even when his hours aren't making custody difficult, he's making my best friend choose between a wedding and her parents. I know it's not Ryle's fault, but I like silently blaming stuff on him that he has no control over. It feels good. Honestly, that's so real. Does Lucy know you aren't going? Alyssa nods. She's fine with it. 2 less mouths to feed. She takes a sip of her coffee. Are you taking Atlas? I didn't invite him. I thought you and Marsha were going, and I didn't want to ask you when Marsha don't lie for me. Again. I felt bad that I asked Alyssa to watch Emmy last week for my date because I knew she'd have to lie to Ryle if it came up. And she did end up having to lie to him. When are you planning to tell Ryle you're going back on the dating scene? I groan. Do I have to? He'll find out eventually. I wish I could just pretend I was dating some guy named Greg. I don't know that he'd be as threatened by a Greg. Maybe I don't have to be specific about who I'm dating, and he won't be as angry. I'll ease him into the knowledge of it being Atlas after a decade or 2. Alyssa laughs, but then she looks at me curiously. Why does Ryle hate Atlas so much anyway? He didn't like that I kept mementos from back when Atlas and I dated. Alyssa is staring at me, waiting. What else? I shake my head. There's nothing else. What do you mean? Did you cheat on Ryle with Atlas? What? No. God, no. I never would have done that to Ryle. I'm a little offended by her question, but then again, I'm not. Ryle's reaction would naturally make anyone question what led to that kind of reaction. Alyssa's eyes are swimming in puzzlement. I still don't get it. If you weren't actively cheating on him with the guy, why does Ryle hate him? I release an exaggerated sigh. I've asked myself that a million times, Alyssa. She makes an annoyed face only siblings could preserve for each other. I make that face every day. I never wanted to ask because I thought you were ashamed that you cheated on my brother and just didn't want to tell me. I haven't even kissed Atlas since I was 16. Ryle just couldn't handle that my past sometimes crept into my present in an obviously platonic way. Wait, you haven't kissed Atlas since you were 16? She latched on to the absolute wrong point of the conversation. Not even on your date last week. We're taking it slow, and that's fine by me. The slower we're taking things, the more time it gives me before I have to break it to your brother. I think you should just rip off the band-aid. She points at my phone on the counter. Text Ryle right now and tell him you're dating Atlas. He'll get over it. He doesn't have a choice. This is something I need to tell him in person. You're too considerate. You're too naive. If you think Ryle is going to get over it, you don't know your brother very well. I've never claimed to. Alyssa sighs and drops her chin into her hand. Marshall told me he told you I cheated on him. I am so glad she's changing the subject. Yeah, that was a shock. Drunken mistake. I was 19. Nothing counts before you turn 21. I laugh. Is that true? Yep. She hops on the counter and starts swinging her legs. Tell me more about Atlas. Tell me like I'm your best friend and not your ex-husband's sister. And we're back to this conversation. That was a quick break. You sure this isn't awkward for you? Why? Because Ryle is my brother. No, not awkward at all. He should have been nicer to you, and then you wouldn't have to date Greek gods. She wrinkles her eyebrows with a grin. So what's he like? He seems mysterious. He's not really. Not to me. I can feel the smile wanting to spread across my face, so I let it. He's so easy to talk to, and he's kind. He's Marshall kind, but not as outgoing. He's more reserved. He works a lot, and I have Emmy all the time, so it's been hard to make time for anything together. Plus, he just found out that he has a little brother this week, so his life is kind of chaotic right now. Texts and phone calls are our primary source of communication, so that sucks. Is that why you keep checking your phone? I can feel my cheeks warm when she says that. I hate that she's noticed. I've tried my best to be inconspicuous with this. I don't want anyone to know how often Atlas and I text, or how often I think about texting him, or how often I think about him. Maybe I'm scared to talk about it with Alyssa because I don't want to allow myself to be happy about Atlas until I know Ryle isn't going to be furious over Atlas. Guys, the lighting is crazy. Sorry. I received a text right in the middle of that thought, and it takes everything in me to fight my smile when I look at my phone and read it. Is that him? Alyssa asks. I nod. What's he saying? He asked if I want him to bring me lunch. Yes, Alyssa says emphatically. Tell him you're starving and so is your friend. I laugh and then reply to Alex with, could you bring lunch for 2 today? My coworker gets jealous when you bring me food. He immediately replies with, be there in an hour. Yo, I forgot the way this book makes me blush. I've been single for too long. The littlest things do it for me these days. When Atlas finally shows up, both Alyssa and I are busy with customers. He's carrying a brown paper bag. I motion for him to wait by the counter, so he stands patiently while we finish up. Alyssa is finished first, and for at least 5 minutes, she and Atlas are having a conversation I can't hear from this side of the shop. I'm trying to give my attention to the customer in front of me, but knowing Alyssa is speaking freely to Atlas has me more than nervous. I never know what's going to come out of her mouth. Atlas looks pleased though. Whatever she's telling him, he's enjoying it. It feels like a decade later when I'm finally free to join them. Atlas leans in and greets me with a kiss on the cheek when I reach him. His fingers graze my elbow for several seconds after our greeting before he pulls his hand away. That simple physical gesture sends a current through me, making it hard to focus without being too obvious that I get giddy around him. Alyssa smiles at me knowingly. Adam Brody, huh? I have no idea what she's referring to until I look at Atlas and he's grinning. I had a poster of Adam Brody on my bedroom wall the first time Atlas came to my house. I shove Atlas's arm. I was 15. So cute. He laughs, and I love that Alyssa is being nice to him. I knew she has every right to give complete loyalty to her brother, but it's not in her to be rude to people simply because other people don't like them. She's not a ride or die friend, nor is she a ride or die sister. That's what I love the most about her, because I'm not a ride or die either. If you do something stupid, I'm going to be the friend who tells you you're doing something stupid. I'm not going to join you in your stupidity. Me. I want my friends to treat me the same way. I prefer honesty over loyalty any day, because with honesty comes loyalty. Thank you for lunch, I say. Did you get Josh's school situation settled? Atlas has been working to enroll him in a school more local to where he lives rather than the school Josh was in all the way across town. I did. Fingers crossed they don't look too hard into the enrollment forms I had to fill out. I lied a little. I'm sure it'll be fine, I say. I can't wait to meet him. How old is he? Alyssa asks. He just turned 12, Atlas says. Whoa, Alyssa says. Worst age ever, but at least you don't have to pay for daycare. Silver lining. Alyssa snaps her fingers. Speaking of children, Lily won't have Emerson next Saturday because she's going to a wedding. A night out all by herself as a single adult. I roll my eyes and look at her. I was about to invite him. I didn't need your help. Atlas perks up. A wedding, huh? A sly smile plays on his lips. You plan on sleeping through it? Stop. So cute. I immediately blush, and that makes Alyssa curious. Atlas turns to her and says, she didn't tell you. She slept through our first date. I'm not even looking at Alyssa, and I can feel her staring. I was tired. I say, excusing the excusable. It was an accident. Oh, I absolutely need more of this story, Alyssa says. She fell asleep on our drive there, slept in a parking lot for over an hour. We never even made it into the restaurant. Oh my god. Alyssa starts laughing, and I kind of want to crawl under the counter and hide now. Who's getting married? Atlas asks me. My friend Lucy. She works here. What time? It's at 7. Nighttime wedding, if you can swing it. I can. Atlas does this thing with his eyes where he briefly looks like he wishes we were alone. It's sending tingles of warmth crawling down my spine. I need to get back. Enjoy your lunch. He nods at Alyssa. It was nice officially meeting you. You too, she says. He gets halfway to the exit when he starts whistling. He walks away in a cheerful mood, and it makes my heart swell to see him so happy. I have no idea if his good mood has anything to do with me was worried about him all those years ago is extremely pleased to see him doing so well in life. What's wrong with him? When I glance at Alyssa, she's staring curiously at the door Alice just appeared out of. What do you mean? Why isn't he married? Why doesn't he have a girlfriend? Hopefully he'll have a girlfriend soon. I can't say it without smiling. He's probably bad in bed. Maybe that's why he's single. He's definitely not bad in bed. I'm not mature enough for this book. Her jaw drops. You said you haven't even kissed him yet. How would you know? As adults, I say. You forget I have history with him. He was my first, and he was very, very good. And I'm sure he's gotten even better. Okay. My face is hot, you guys. Alyssa stares at me for a beat, then says, I'm happy for you, Lily, but she's frowning. Marshall's going to like him too. He's so likable. She says that like it's the worst possible outcome. And that's a bad thing. I don't know if it's a good thing. She says, this whole thing is muddled. You know that. I don't need to explain it to you, but I can absolutely see why you're so hesitant to tell Ryle. Knowing his ex-wife is sharing a bed with that block of perfection has to be extremely emasculating. I raise a brow. Not as emasculating as beating your wife should feel. I'm a little shocked when those words come out of my mouth, but I can't take them back. I don't think I need to, though, because luckily my best friend isn't a ride-or-die sister. Rather than be offended, Alyssa agrees with a nod. Touché, Lily. Touché. She honestly ate with that line, though. Alright, you guys, let's go straight into chapter 19. I think it's like 3 pages, so let's knock that out really quickly. I'm honestly getting back into this because this book be having me blushing, y'all. Let's get into it. Chapter 19 is in Atlas's point of view. I have no idea if 12 is too young to take an Uber, but I didn't want to leave Josh at my place alone after school again, so I had one drop him off here at the restaurant. We discussed earlier this week that he should probably help out here to pay off the damage he accrued. I've been watching the Uber on a map, so I meet him out front. When he gets out of the car, he looks like a completely different kid from the one I met several days ago. He's wearing clothes that fit him. I took him for a haircut yesterday, and he's carrying a backpack full of books rather than cans of spray paint. I doubt Sutton would even recognize him if he saw him. How was school? Today was his second day at the new school. Yesterday he said it was okay, but didn't expand. It was okay. I guess that's as much as I'll get from a 12-year-old. I open the door to the restaurant and Josh pauses before walking in. He looks up at the building and assesses it. Funny how I slept here for 2 weeks, but this is the first time I've ever walked through the entrance. I laugh and follow him into the restaurant. I'm excited for him to meet Theo, even though I haven't had a chance to tell Theo about Josh yet. Theo arrived a few minutes ago and came through the back right as I was heading toward the front to fetch Josh. Theo hasn't been to the restaurant since last week, and I haven't brought Josh around because I had to take some time off in order to attempt to get his life straightened out. When we walk through the double doors that led to the busy kitchen, Josh pauses in wonder. He stares wide-eyed at the commotion. I'm sure the place is a lot different during the day than it was when he slept here at night. The door to my office is open, which means Theo must be in there doing his homework. I lead Josh in that direction and he follows me as we make our way into the office. Theo is seated at my desk reading. He looks up at me, then looks at Josh. He leans back in the desk chair and pulls in his chin. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Josh asks Theo. Do they know each other? Is Theo the think they would since schools here are so big and there are so many. I wasn't even sure which school Theo attended. Do you two know each other? Theo says to me, yeah, he's a new kid at my school. Then to Josh, he says, but how do you know Atlas? Josh drops his backpack and nudges his head toward me as he plops onto the sofa. He's my brother. I just like that, him saying that. That's so cute. Theo looks at me and then at Josh, then at me. Why didn't I know you have a brother? Long story, I say. Don't you think that's something your therapist should know about? You haven't been here all week, I say. I had math practice after school every day, he says. Math practice? How does one practice math? Josh pipes in. Wait, Theo is your therapist? Theo answers with, yeah, but he doesn't pay me. Hey, did you get Trent for math? No, I got Sully, Josh says. Bummer. Theo looks over at me and then back at Josh, then back at me. How have you never mentioned you have a brother? Theo can't seem to get past the fact, but I don't have time to explain it to him right now. The kitchen is running behind me. Josh can tell you, I have a kitchen to run. I leave them in my office and head back to help out with all the chits we're behind on. Don't know what that means, but okay. I like that they know each other, but I like it even more that Theo seemed comfortable around him. I know Theo much better than I know my little brother, and I feel like Theo would have had some sort of reaction if he was displeased to see Josh. About an hour later, the kitchen is fully staffed and I have a few minutes to break free. When I walk into the office, Josh and Theo are having what looks like an intense discussion about a manga Theo is holding. Sorry to interrupt. I motion for Josh to follow me. You finish your homework? Sure, he says. Sure. I don't know him well enough to know what kind of answer sure is. Is that a yes or no or mostly? Yes, he says, following me out of the kitchen. Mostly. I'll finish it tonight. My brain hurts. I introduce him to a few people in the kitchen, finishing with Brad. Josh, this is Brad. He's Theo's father. I gesture towards Josh. This is Josh, my little brother. Brad wrinkles his forehead in confusion but says nothing. Josh has a debt to pay off. You have any work for him? I have a debt, he asks, befuddled. Crouton debt. Oh, that. Brad immediately puts two and two together. He nods slowly and then says to Josh, you ever wash dishes? Josh rolls his eyes and follows Brad to the sink. I feel bad making him work, but I'd feel even worse if there weren't any consequences to the thousands of dollars he cost me. I'll let him do dishes for an hour and then we'll call it even. I mostly just wanted him out of my office so I could talk to Theo about him. I haven't had a chance to talk to him without Josh in the room. Theo was at my desk stuffing papers into his backpack. I sit on the couch prepared to ask him about Josh, but Theo speaks first. You kiss Lily yet? Always about me, never about him. Not yet. What the heck, Atlas? I swear you are so lame sometimes. How well do you know Josh? I asked, changing the subject. He's only been in school for 2 days, so not super well. We have a couple classes together. How's he doing in that school? No clue. I'm not his teacher. I don't mean his grades. I mean his interactions. Is he making friends? Is he nice? Theo tilts his head. You're asking me if your brother is nice. So did you know? I just met him. Yeah, me too, Theo says. And you're asking me a loaded question. Kids are mean sometimes, you know that. Are you saying Josh is mean? There are different kinds of mean. Josh is the better kind of mean. I'm not following at all. Theo can see that, so he expands. He's like a bully to the bullies, if that makes sense. This conversation is making me uncomfortable. So Josh is king of the bullies. That sounds bad. Theo rolls his eyes. It's hard to explain, but I'm sure it's not surprising that I'm not the most popular kid in the school. I'm on the math team, and I'm... He shrugs off the last word, but I don't have to worry about kids like Josh. When you ask me if he's nice, I don't know how to answer that because he isn't nice, but he isn't mean either, or at least he isn't mean to the nice people. I like Josh, okay? I'm a Josh stan. Theo isn't scared of Josh. Anyway, Theo says, zipping his backpack, "You and Lily, did it fizzle out already?" "No, we're just busy. I'm going to a wedding with her tomorrow, though. You finally gonna kiss her?" "If she wants me to." Theo nods. "She probably will, as long as you refrain from saying anything cheesy like, 'Look at the ships, let's lock lips.'" Dang, I like Theo too. I grab one of the couch pillows and throw it at him. I'm getting a new therapist who doesn't bully me. And that's chapter 19. Okay, you guys. That was chapter 18 and 19. They were so cute. This book really is very much like a feel good. I feel like the first one was really heavy, and I had a lot of moments where I literally started to like tear up because it was so heavy and like dramatic. But this one is just really sweet. It's just really freaking sweet, you know? So cute. Anyway, you guys, I can't promise that I'm gonna be consistent with these because, like I said, they just don't give me the sense of community that all my other videos do, but I am gonna try and be